Alienware Arena.
So we are back on Cloud Kingdom, where of course Grubby is our green Protoss player spawning in the left bottom side of Cloud Kingdom. And he is up against the North American champion, a player that we were super unfamiliar with. There were quite some guys saying on the forum like, I think I've seen him. He played in a couple of the ESEA league tournaments, I believe. And they said like he's not super unknown, but I think for the general audience, and even when a player is like unknown to us as casters, while we of course see an insane amount of Starcraft. And I don't just cast the big tournaments, guys. I often watch small local tournaments as well, because I find that an excellent way to keep up with new rising stars. I did not know about c.Sarovati. I think if I wouldn't have been traveling so much in the last 2, 3, 4 months, I probably would have run into him on ladder a couple of times. Unfortunately, I am horribly out of shape right now, and I really can't wait to just sit down, practice a lot of Starcraft again, and get known with these guys, because I think that's super exciting. It's always fun to cast the big guys and know who is the absolute best player or the absolute 5, 10 best players on the server. But it's also super cool to know about the tier below our superstars and just get familiar with them, play against them, get to know their playstyles a little bit, and then of course at the end of the day, sound smart at the cast. Unfortunately. I've been too busy to keep up with that, but I can guarantee you guys, January is actually a month where I will be able to play a lot of Starcraft again. So I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to play against this guy as well, because I think me knowing how aggressive I like to play PvP and seeing how c.Sarovati likes to play PvP, it's going to be some pretty fun games.
I'm wondering if we're going to see c.Sarovati sort of return to that style that we saw to him yesterday. So far, he's been playing kind of safe against Grubby, playing kind of standard. And it hasn't gone well for him. Where is the crazy cannon rush? Where is the all-in Blinkstalker play? Where is that risk taker that made it to the finals?
Yesterday he was so decisive. Whenever he felt it was the right moment to attack, he went for it immediately. Now, of course, PvP is a very different matchup than PvC, which we casted, or even the PvT, where he busted out some crazy strategies against QXC. If you guys haven't seen it, c.Sarovati opened up with a Stargate in his main base against the no gas fast expand. Now normally I think already you're close to that. Then he went Void Rays, not 1, not 2, but like 3, 4, on a certain moment I believe even 5 Void Rays, doing pretty well, picking up a lot of Marines, then getting a Colossus tech ready as well. So by the time that QXC had Stim Marines, he had 1 Colossus on the field. A really cool game. I really suggest that you guys check out the VOD, because I've never seen anyone pull that strategy off against a player as good as QXC.
Yeah, there's the kind of you just don't see that at the highest level, and it's bizarre. c.Sarovati's play here though has been very normal, and once again he's got a fairly normal-looking opening. Grubby again drops the early Twilight Council.
I mean, on Entombed Valley, c.Sarovati did want to go out with a crazy quick push. He pretty much went for the quickest Robo Bay possible. But yeah, the fact that this Immortal trap really hurted him, and he even skipped the sentry now. There are still some ways to cheat in PvP, but the moment you start playing 1-gauge Robo Bay without a sentry, I wouldn't even call that cheating anymore, but you won't get suspended for that. No, you get kicked out of school immediately, because that's some serious cheating.
c.Sarovati's dropped his own Twilight Council. He has a lot of gas saved up. So I'm curious if we're going to see a Robo go down with his Blink, or if he's just going straight up to DT.
Oh,
he's got a lot of
one
money.
Stalker a little bit out of position, so that Stalker is going to take a lot of damage. This is 3 Stalkers against 3 Stalkers.
Ooh, one more shot.
End up losing one. If not, he's going to... Yes, he will take some damage on the other Stalker as well. Of course, the Warp Gates are almost ready, so soon Grubby will be able to reinforce. But so far, so good. c.Sarovati,
don't overcommit here, c.Sarovati.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling as well. Get some shots off on the probes and not kill a single probe. With 3 against 4 Stalkers, you probably just want to back off. Even when 1 Stalker is low on HP, Grubby trying to get those units in place on the high ground, trying to get some free shots off. But c.Sarovati, man, this is good. This is awesome. This is the best that the game has started off for him so far. He invested in economy more than Grubby as well. He's up to 29 probes. Grubby is on 26, and he picked off a Stalker. That's good news.
Grubby sending a probe across the map. c.Sarovati spotted it. He's trying to find it right now.
He will be able to find it in the future. Well, if he also finds the pylon, that is really nice. Right now, it probably just feels like, man,
oh, come on, you got to check for that. Oh, that could come back to haunt him later. We'll see.
And then again, he's actually playing his playstyle in which he's gonna have a lot of units as well. So, yes, it would have been much better to pick up that pylon, but I don't think early game is gonna be a big problem. The The only thing I'm quite worried about is that he completely forgets about him. Perhaps later on in the game, when he's actually going to be the aggressor, that Grubby wipes in 2-3 zealots on his side of the map. And that could be very painful. C.Sarovati tried to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting pylons down on the south side of this map. Grubby finds the probe and also finds the pylon. I am not sure if he knows about the other pylon though. He's actually gonna let that pylon finish because I think he just no, he's gonna have to cancel it now.
He's gonna try to save it. He's got 2 stalkers against 1.
But Grubby will be able to attack that pylon from the high ground.
Well, that's I don't know what to say there, man. As C.Sarovati has 54 supply to Grubby's 51. Remember that first stalker he killed? Well, it's not reflected in the current units. As you said, that pylon gets picked off from the high ground.
I think that was a little bit silly. C.Sarovati is going to have 2 observers as well, so he doesn't want to rely on just 1 observer. But both players are basically doing the exact same thing. Grubby goes to the forward blink.
Like Grubby going down onto the low ground, and C.Sarovati is going to try and see if he can capitalize on that a little bit. Very even-looking fight. Grubby again blinking aggressively. Stalker counts are about the same, but Grubby has more health on his stalkers.
Oh, Grubby's going to go for another forward blink, picks off 2 stalkers. That's a massive pickup. And on this moment, C.Sarovati is just going to retreat immediately. He also has an Immortal in production, so he's going to try to transition. From this moment on, I do not think that Grubby will be able to kill any more stalkers, but that definitely went well. Grubby killed, I believe, 1 more stalker than his opponent there.
If we look at the units tab, we can see it's 13 stalkers to 17.
But there's going to be an Immortal, and I do think that Immortal is representing 4 stalkers, basically. Is Grubby going to try to go for the forward blink? Yes, he is, but there's Immortal in the mix. This actually could bite Grubby quite a bit. Grubby's going to end up losing 2 stalkers immediately. Oh, the Immortal's not fighting yet. Just now the Immortal's fighting. Small misblink there by Grubby as well. Ends up losing 1 stalker, and he took a lot of real damage on the other stalkers, and that is actually the best news. We went from 17 to 13 to 14 to 10. So even though that sort of played out well for Grubby, he has a lot of low HP units right now. And he knows that his opponent starts going for Immortals, which makes the army a little less mobile.
C.Sarovati's in a pretty good spot though. Oh, blinking down and catching a stalker. So C.Sarovati continuing to make pretty solid moves here in this 3rd game. Looks like maybe he's finally shaken off the nerves. Bouncing back a little bit. Will probably be taking an expansion soon. Yes, there's the Nexus. Grubby took his just about 30 seconds faster, so this will be incredibly even.
True, but then again, C.Sarovati has a stronger army right now, in my opinion. Those 2 Zealots are going to be awesome. He has an Immortal, I believe 2 Immortals, right? Yes, he has 2 Immortals on the map, and this time C.Sarovati is going to try to find that pylon on the left top side of the map. Hopefully he will succeed in doing so. Yes, he will, so this feels good as well. Okay, he knows now that he found the pylon. Of course, Grubby found his pylon as well on the south side of the map. A player like Grubby is going to do that. Ooh, you have to be careful, man, with those stalkers. The stalkers are quite far out of position right now. Grubby's moving in the map. This could end up really, really bad for C.Sarovati.
I think Grubby knows that those stalkers were up there, and he wants to try and find them. Sees him on the Zelnaga tower right now, and C.Sarovati could be in a little bit of trouble. Grubby trying to position his units.
So careful with his blink. But Grubby blinks forward as well. He's going to be able to pick up 2 stalkers, maybe even 3. No.
Yes. 3 and maybe even 4, was it?
Grubby lost 1 stalker there as well, but still. C.Sarovati getting a little over-eager there after finding that pylon, getting out too far out on the map without actually having any map vision. Grubby's going to try to blink in the main base once more because he knows that he has the more mobile army. Even though just with 2 stalkers, but 2 stalkers is already good enough, as he's going to be able to kill maybe 3-4 probes.
C.Sarovati having a little bit of trouble deciding how he wants to deal with this. Finally blinks up into the main with 3 stalkers, almost loses 1.
He's going to get his first
Grubby really wants to kill that stalker. And he will.
Wow. Wow. Super Agent Stalker will get away as well, as James Bond always survives, even when he is way behind enemy lines. And Grubby is doing this so well, because he just managed to kill like 6-7 probes and puts himself in a nice worker lead. Before that, this game was sort of even, I'd say, even though that final engagement in the middle of the map with Stalkers only was good for Grubby. Worker-wise, C.Sarovati was doing pretty good, but he just lost 7 probes. So that small Colossus stack advantage that he has is probably going to be gone soon, as Grubby just has a better economy. And if this game goes on for a longer amount of time, I can see Grubby dropping that second robo as well, even before C.Sarovati, just because he has the economy to do so.
Grubby's control has just been phenomenal this entire game. C.Sarovati trying to stabilize 83 supply to 86, and when we consider Grubby's worker lead, it does mean that C.Sarovati has a slightly smaller army. Then how are the supplies so different? Something doesn't add up, Kev.
He's down 8 army supply and he's down like 5 workers.
Grubby just added in a few more units is what happened. So Grubby has pulled ahead in both army supply and worker supply. So finally that economic lead starting to establish itself.
The only thing we have to mention, man, if this game goes on for a very long time, Grubby has 14 Stalkers, and those 14 Stalkers, they're really not going to be all that great in late game PvP. We see c.Sarovati already dropping his second Robo. He's going to get a Forge as well, second Forge even. Wow, he's really gearing up for the late game, which I do not think is the wrong decision, because if he moves out right now, he's going to lose his main base immediately. Once more, c.Sarovati ends up losing 2 Stalkers. Now, the Stalkers are not very crucial anymore, but you cannot just throw away units left and right. Well, I can imagine the moment that Grubby starts losing those Stalkers, he's going to at least kill a handful of probes.
Grubby's play is really just, it's just been better than c.Sarovati's here in this series thus far. Every time c.Sarovati tries to do anything, Grubby punishes him for it once again. We will see him blinking up into the main with 2 Stalkers. 2 Stalkers kill probes in 2 volleys.
Yep. Grubby, meanwhile, on the other hand, c.Sarovati's going to try to kill Stalkers on the low ground. I think he killed 1 there. Maybe, he could have even killed the Observer. c.Sarovati thought that those Stalkers would retreat, but Grubby knows, of course, he doesn't have to keep those Stalkers alive for a very long amount of time. As long as he kills some probes, they will definitely worth their weight in gold, and that's exactly what Grubby is doing. Man, he killed 13 probes right now, just with small blink Stalker and rest.
Yeah,
that's really
so annoying. 13 probes killed, 43 workers remain for c.Sarovati against the 51 of Grubby, so just phenomenal. Now he's going to blink up with his whole army, and this means faster probe genocide. Picking off a couple of pylons as well. c.Sarovati is positioning his army to impair the retreat path of Grubby. I don't think these Stalkers are ever going to leave, Kev.
Nope, all these Stalkers will go down, and perhaps this time it wasn't as cost effective as the previous time. If Grubby just pick up 1 more Observer there, that's a really cool move as well. And he gets a great scout off, he sees the double Robo, he sees double Forge. Right now c.Sarovati does have a minor supply lead, but of course Grubby's already going up to 3 bases, and he's up 12 workers, man.
Yes, he is, and even after donating those Stalkers, the army supplies, get this, Grubby 64, c.Sarovati 62, so still ahead in every possible way. Colossus count, the one place where c.Sarovati has the advantage, he has 5 Colossi to 3.
The only thing that c.Sarovati is ahead is upgrades. I'm not sure if Grubby has double Forge. No, he's working off a single Forge, but c.Sarovati has double Forge, and he's already on 1-1 upgrades. While Grubby just now starting 2-0, and 2-1 was already on the way for c.Sarovati. So that's one thing that he's going to perhaps get a small window later on in this game. But he lost so many probes. That's really the biggest problem for him right now. Grubby did that fantastic, man. So smart. If you guys ever want to know when is the right time to sacrifice your Stalkers and what do I do with my Stalkers in this early mid-game when it's going to turn into this double Robo festival, well, look at what Grubby just did. Take notes and try to do that, because that was fantastic.
The funny thing is, it's not so simple as saying this is when you do it. It's a very kind of organic process, and Grubby just recognizing the moment when those Stalkers weren't going to be much use to him anymore, and gets as much mileage out of them as he could. Now he's at 140 supply against about 130 from c.Sarovati. Both players are on 3 bases. The armies are comparable.
Yeah, actually, I do not think that Grubby is able to crush c.Sarovati right now. Certainly not if c.Sarovati puts himself in a nice defensive position. But I'm not sure if Grubby even wants to do that. Perhaps he's just scaring his opponent a little bit by moving out. Taking map control is always a beautiful thing to do in PvP. Grubby getting pylons up all around the map as well. Is this even going to be a Nexus, Grubby? He has the money for it.
Oh, how about that? Fast and hidden 4th base there from Grubby.
I'm curious to see where c.Sarovati is going to take these upgrades, man. If he wants to go something with 2-2, or if he's going to go all out and wait for 3-3 upgrades. Man, look at Grubby's map vision. Just like select Grubby, press V, and he has something all around the map. There is just no way to surprise Grubby right now. Beautiful map control.
Yep. There's really no way for c.Sarovati to cross the map without Grubby knowing all about it.
c.Sarovati is even going to warp in the Stargate already, man. That means that he's going to go for super late game. He wants to get out a mothership. While Grubby on the other hand is warping in a couple of High Templars right now, morphing them into Archons. So despite going up to 4 bases, it does sort of seem that Grubby wants to get aggressive. Because if you go for Archons rather than go for a Stargate, that also means that you're going to probably try to attack in a certain moment. Because at the end of the day, of course, having a mothership in PvP can be massive. It would be really cool to see this little dance between High Templars and a mothership, because if you can get a feedback off, It doesn't make the mothership useless because it still absorbs a ton of damage, but of course it's not as scary anymore.
Yeah, Vortex is a game changer, as we already know. So it looks like Grubby is gearing up for some multi-pronged aggression. Zealot's up at the top of the map. His main army pushing up towards the natural. c.Sarovati's a little bit out of position.
Yep, he is. This is actually going to be quite scary right now. Grubby at 190 supply. Damn, that went quick. Of course, going for Stargate and Fleet Beacon is pretty expensive, but still, perhaps something is possible for c.Sarovati with his superior upgrades, and right now superior economy as well.
And as soon as c.Sarovati moves, Grubby sends in the Zealots. He's got Zealots in the third, Zealots in the fourth, and c.Sarovati's scrambling to deal with it. Will that Nexus fall?
The Colossus are getting really close. I think it will survive, but it's going to be extremely low in HP.
It will survive barely. That fourth expansion, I don't know if it's going to be so lucky. That one looks like it should fall.
No, I think it's going to survive as well.
Wow. 2 Nexuses with like 1 Zealot punch each.
That was a pretty big commitment by Grubby. Once more, Grubby is going to send some more Zealots, but probably has to feel right now that, hey, perhaps I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful. Okay, this time c.Sarovati just doesn't have map vision, so he wasn't sure if he should have tried to take out those Zealots immediately, because he wasn't sure where the big army was with Grubby. But the main army-wise, c.Sarovati is actually a lot stronger right now than Grubby. He has, well, actually, Grubby has more Immortals and Archons, but what c.Sarovati does have is far superior upgrades.
Upgrades, I'm really interested to see how this will play out, as these armies are about the same size, but upgrades are quite different. Zealots being unloaded by Grubby. It's a speed prism, guys. So Zealots in the natural, and I'm sure we'll see another warp in the main. As
more
that's
Zealots
happening, more Zealots running around the back of the map. Grubby is everywhere.
He's going to be able to take out this third base now as well. Beautiful play by Grubby. He's really just picking apart his opponent. He probably selected the units as well, looked at the upgrades. The mothership is going to be out for c.Sarovati soon, but he just has absolutely no economy anymore. He's going to even end up losing one of his robos, maybe even both robos. Yes, he will lose both robotics facilities, man. And Grubby's even going to pick up a couple of Zealots and try to get out of here.
Flies right over the Colossi. They can try to headbutt that warp prism, but that's about all. Mothership is out. I think Grubby even spotted that.
Yep.
And just because I know you guys want to know it, Grubby is doing all of this with a smooth 150 APM. He is not burning up his keyboard. Slow and steady wins the race for the Orc King.
Grubby going to wipe in quite some cannons right now. He knows he's going to have to worry about detection eventually. Imagine if you end up losing 1 or 2 observers. How many observers does Grubby have on the map? He has 3 observers already, so even for this, man, Grubby is prepared.
c.Sarovati has 1 big push, really, and that's all he's got left after losing 2 bases. Grubby's still continuing to harass with that warp prism, Zealots being unloaded, and units being warped in. c.Sarovati finds this expansion in the bottom right, and this will easily go down. Look at these Colossi doing an advanced jig on that cliff.
Actually, this kind of weird right now. Look at Grubby's Immortals, man. They're so... Oh my god, those Immortals just kind of completely took a different route than the rest of the army. c.Sarovati could have intercepted and killed those 3-4 Immortals. Grubby, though, right now is just going to try to counter immediately. Perhaps we're going to see this big engagement. Grubby does not have a High Templar in the army, so that means we can see Vortex go down. c.Sarovati, where are your Colossus? What are you doing?
He's so strangely spread out. Colossi completely away from the army. Vortex goes down, but doesn't really catch anything.
He just lost like 3 or 4 Archons and 2 Immortals as well, because the Colossus were way out of position. And that was the only Vortex that he has, at least for now. Grubby, meanwhile, still sending Zealots to the top side of the map as well, still being annoying, having Dark Templars in the main base, Zealots in the natural. Grubby is just like waiting this game out, man. He's just dancing around the map. He knows that he's dealing crippling amounts of damage into the main base of c.Sarovati, into the economy that c.Sarovati has. Does c.Sarovati even have an observer? He has 1 observer and no robo anymore, man. So the moment this observer dies from c.Sarovati, this is really game over.
I think c.Sarovati knows it, man. He's sending his army back, just wants to clean up some of his base. Grubby's just taking more expansions. This has been a showcase of Grubby's talents. A perfect game.
Textbook
really.
PvP. Really
just
textbook
beautiful.
PvP.
Absolutely beautiful.
So
Grubby keeps getting better too, man. It's so bizarre. Like, when he came into Starcraft 2, everyone was saying his skills aren't translating from Warcraft 3, but he has stuck with it, and he has become one of the powerhouse Europeans.
Yep, there's no doubt about it. If you ask any of the other European pros as well, they always say that Grubby is extremely good. Grubby right now, by the way, man, only at 47 probes. This is a terrifying Protoss army. This is like as good as a Protoss army is gonna get if you do not have a mothership.
Yes, sir, man. 150 true army supply for
10
Grubby.
Colossus, 6 Archons, 6 Immortals, and 16 Zealots, and even 2 High Templars, so this time he might be able to land a feedback. Does he have the High Templars in the War Prism? Yes, he does, so I really think he might be able to drop a feedback, and that would just be the perfect way to finish off this game, man. He is gonna set the War Prism, and he is gonna not land a feedback. So actually, maybe a Vortex?
Oh! Vortex does go down. Most of Grubby's army avoiding it. We're still going to see a little bit of a massacre when this Vortex expires.
Grubby actually seems like he wants to take a stand and try to make a fight. He's already getting his Colossus in position, and here we go. Grubby is going to try to take on this fight, bringing in Zealots from behind as well. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful game from Grubby as he crushes through the last of c.Sarovati's forces. GG, well played. And Grubby leads 3-0, one game away from that $2,000 first place prize. Of course, hats off to c.Sarovati for an excellent run, but Grubby showing his skill here today.
Yeah, it's starting to look really grim right now for our amateur challenger, who had an absolutely fantastic run through the North American side of this tournament, taking out Cats, taking out QXC, and taking out Vipe in the final. But right now against Grubby, Grubby's PvP just seems a little too good right now. Certainly here on Cloud Kingdom, I felt the first 2 games, perhaps c.Sarovati got a little bit unlucky, perhaps he was a little bit nervous. This game started off, I think, as he wanted to. He picked off a Stalker early on, but after that, Grubby just did a couple of things a little bit better. But in PvP, if you do stuff a little bit better, it's going to end up to a pretty big advantage.
Yeah.
And Grubby certainly showed us how to play out a PvP. When you have the feeling you're slightly ahead, he just did everything right.
That's right. Guys, we're going to take a very short break. We will be back with potentially our final game of the Alienware Arena. Don't go anywhere. Grubby versus c.Sarovati, game number 4 after this.